Hello my friends on YouTube. Today is Sunday, the 3rd of August 2025. Today's video is the eloquence of Quran. We may speak about adult stuff, so if some people underage, please ask them to leave the place. Thank you. In the Quran, the book of Allah, chapter 24, verse 61. But before we go to 61, now I like to read Quran as a grown-up man. However, when I were a child, we took the word of the teacher as fact, right? So we didn't argue, we didn't say no, we just accepted what was given to us. But now that I'm a grown-up person, I think for myself, I take decisions on my own. And unfortunately, you see, we are supposed to listen to our parents, we are supposed to listen to our teachers, we are supposed to be obedient to the people we love, especially those who are in authority, like your father, your mother, your grandfather, and so on and so forth. But also, you're supposed to be obedient to your teacher when the teacher is a good teacher, and also when the parent is a good parent. Unfortunately, most of our parents are brainwashed in the ideology of the founder of Islam, and they were told this is the best. As I was reading in chapter called An-Nur, which is the light. I will put it in the description box. The title of that chapter is An-Nur, means the light. So it should shed light on things, not to confuse you more. There's a lot of confusions going on in the world, and you don't need more. And therefore, you expect that this should actually assist you in your journey during your life course here on earth. Now, when I was a child, all that I heard, and I believed, that Quran was a very eloquent book. Everybody believes it around you, your parents believe it, everyone believes in that nonsense. And I call it now nonsense because, as I will show you, and I hope the people who believe in it can really take a step back. It will not cost you anything. Take a step back and use your head. Think and evaluate things for yourself. Don't let anyone to tell you what to believe or what to do. Before we read 61, to really examine the eloquency in this book, because if you are eloquent, you are supposed to convey the message very clearly and very effectively to your audience. So when the Almighty God, who created that huge universe, fails to convey a message to a point. When I was looking at this verse and trying to learn because it's a lot of nonsense, I'm sorry to say, and we'll get to that now. Many of the Muslim clerks, on YouTube as well as written stuff, they are trying to bend the neck of the bottle to make things fit. But reality is, if you think for yourself, it does not fit. Okay. My main verse is 61, but let's start at 60. وَالْقَوَاعِدْ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ اللَّاتِي لَا يَرْجُونَ نِكَاحًا. He is talking about something, you could say, from the very far east and then he will go to the very far south to the very far north, and he calls that eloquency. And things are not really connecting. And if this is eloquency, I don't know what confusion is. Okay, let's start with 59. It speaks about women who have gone through menopause, which normally around 45 to 50 years old. And he is telling them plainly, you know, now you are kind of useless practically. You're not going to get pregnant. So your time is up. And since your time is up, no one will be interested in you. This is what's behind the words. Okay? He's not saying these words exactly, but if you read it carefully, this is what he's telling them. You are useless. So my mother, when she hit 50 and she can no longer have children, she's useless. My sister, when she hit 50, is she useless to her children, to her husband? Anyway, those women who have come to menopause, then you are not going to do nikah. Nikah means sex. You cannot be used for sex anymore. You are useless. No one will be interested in you to get on top of you. Practically, this is what he's saying. Of course, the word to have intercourse with a woman, sometimes it's mixed, sometimes it means marriage. But for these women who cannot be used for sex anymore, whether marriage or without marriage, they can sit with their undergarment, that's okay. But you shouldn't put jewelry and, you know, make yourself very pretty because somebody may be interested in you, even though you are already useless. You know, you can sit with your inner garment, but don't put jewelry. But if you keep your regular clothes, it's much better for you. Thank you very much. You see, this is hid here in that verse about the women who came to a particular age and no one is interested in doing anything with them. And then he jumped. Listen to that eloquence. The next verse. It's very hard. You are trying to convey different culture when you read these things and try to translate. It is very hard to because it's not word for word. You have to understand what's behind the word, the culture. Okay, what he's saying practically, ليس على الأعمى حرج. A blind person should be kind of like excused. Which, I mean, do you need a religion or a revelation from God to tell you that a blind person, he has a special physical disability? Do I need a holy book to explain that to me? And the limping person is also excused. The sick person can also be excused. You left the women who are above age or hit menopause and coming to the blind, to the limping person, to the sick person. And what does that have to do with anything? How do you are saying it's an eloquent book. How do you connect this with the previous? And what does the blind have to do with the limping person and with the sick person? And if you are going to speak about these three cases, what about the deaf? Why you don't say the deaf? The mute, the person who doesn't speak, the person who lost his arm. I mean, there are many physical deficiency that people have to deal with. Okay, a paralyzed person. There are many people who. I have a brother who was hit with the polio, and he had one leg did not work. Well, that's the limping. Okay, he is mentioned in the Quran. Okay, but there are many physical difficulties that people have to deal with. Paralyzed person, been in an accident and he is paralyzed. No, he spoke only about the blind, the limping, and the sick person. And he moves to another subject. And you have to excuse yourself too. For what? So, the blind, the sick, and the limping, and yourself, myself, I'm excused from what? You see, there is no connection within the same verse to the previous verse, but also within the same verse with words with one another. There, like there is excuse for all of us, including myself, that we can eat in our homes. Really? I can eat in my home? You serious? Thank you very much. Where do you normally eat? In your home. He's giving me permission. I can eat in my home. Really? Wow. That's really eloquent. But when I was a child, I had an excuse. I didn't know. Okay? You just follow what your father or mother said, and they believe this is good stuff. This is word of Allah. The same thing, you respect your teacher, and your teacher said this is from God. So you respect, but now I can't take this garbage. Sorry, it's garbage. Okay, continue. I can eat in my home. What a revelation this is, I didn't know. And I can eat in my father's home. All my life, until I got married, I eat in my father's home. Or your mother's home. Notice that normally your father's home is your mother's home, unless some problem and separation, and each has his own place to live in. So you can go to your father, but this really, honestly, is not the best situation for a family. A family it consists of a father and the mother in one home, and the children with them. But when there is difficulties and the father and the mother have to split, that will be difficult for the child. But a child can go to his father's home and eat there. There is his father. And he can go to his mother's home. She is his mother or her mother. And the children can eat in the parents' home. I don't need permission. My child does not, if any of my kids hungry, they go and they open the refrigerator and see what they can eat. And that's why we do shopping. We buy food so that they can eat and I can eat. No one needs permission to eat in his home or her home. But this is the top eloquency book. Okay, so you can eat. What does that have to do with the sick people and the blind and the limping? Nothing. He moved to a different area. Eloquency. Okay? And you can eat also without feeling shame or embarrassment in your brother's home, and your sister's home, and your your uncle from your father's side, or your aunt from your father's side, or your uncle from your mother's side, or your aunt from your mother's side. Or if somebody gave you his key, let's say somebody, a person, your neighbor or your friend, he is going on a trip somewhere for a while, and he gives you your key, he gives you his home key, and say, okay, you have to go to my home once every 2-3 days to make sure that everything is okay, and to make sure that there is somebody in the house so the house does not get robbed, and leaves you the key to go and stay there for a few hours or so to show that there are people occupying the house. You can eat there too. Really? Okay. So if somebody gives you the key to his house, you can eat there too. This is religion. This is faith. So you go and you are praying and you recite this stuff. Okay? And you can eat in your friend's house. And this is a bomb. You can eat together or you can eat individually. See that? See that? You see the eloquence? You can eat together, like the whole family together, or eat individually. You can do that too. It's not a problem. Allah will not put you in hell. Okay? The coming one is worse. And if you enter a house, when you enter, you say Assalamu alaikum, but not if it's an empty house, or even if you are going to your own house. Excuse me. As you enter the house, like for example, I'm a Muslim and I'm entering my own house. The moment I get in, I say Assalamu alaikum Muhammad Ayad, and then I will answer myself Alaikum assalam Muhammad Ayad. So I play the two roles because Allah will bless me. And that's why God, the Allah, is showing you all these wisdoms, so that you can think of the power of God and the wisdom of God and the holiness of God and all this nonsense of God. Why am I wasting my time? Actually, this is a waste of time, honestly. Even to study it now. Long time ago, I gave up on it because I felt it's nonsense. But now I studied carefully and meticulously. Why? Because my heart goes out to the Muslim person, the average person who does not know. And he probably never opened that book. I never opened that book when I was a child. You just take the word of your parents, who never opened the book, by the way, and you take the word of your teacher on faith that they are not going to deceive me. And believe it or not, my parents did not want to deceive me. It's an inheritance. It's culture. They heard from their great-great-grandparents that this is the best book and this is the best religion and this is the best. And they are just repeating what they heard. None of them, hardly any, opened this book and read it carefully and decided for himself or herself that this is good or bad. They just accept what has been stuffed into them. It's stuffed. And it fills up their heads, and they stand up and defend and without really knowing anything about the book. I didn't know. I didn't defend, but I admitted to myself I don't know. And when I started to look, and I was shocked, I said no. And I believe today, and I'm saying that so that people like myself open their heads, open their minds, and open that book and read it for themselves. And once you understand it, I'm very sure you will take a decision. You will make a decision that this is garbage, and you will leave it. And that was really the goodness of the internet. that we can connect, we can communicate now. All that was hidden, many of the teaching also, the book, the Quran and the Hadith, oftentimes, unless you have somebody, a mentor, to explain to you what does that mean, some of the words are really, they fell into disuse, they are very old, and they do all kind, the religious leaders do all kind of tricks to twist them, to make them fit to be something good while they are really evil. So I'm doing this not because I enjoy making fun of this book or from making fun of Muhammad, although sometimes I enjoy it, I must admit, so that somebody can wake up. We appreciate your attention. Please subscribe and share. Thank you.